man wore a purple suit with vertical stripes that made him look even taller. Dark purple, bright purple, dark purple, bright purple, over and over. Then a towering, flamboyant velvet top hat, all a deliberate attempt to look silly. But he wasn't. Just by looking into his insanely light grey eyes, I knew there was a smartness in them. He was something ancient. I could sense he had, somehow, been around since pretty much forever, although he looked like a 40-something. The not Mad Hatter was semi-corporal, all wrapped in a faint green, ghostly glow. "Yes, I am," I replied emotionless. Well, it was good to see a humanoid with a will to live. I just knew that he was trouble, and he didn't even need to have a 7 meters tall beast in tow, calmly held by a bulky purple leather rein. "I'm Hackett, and you would be?" "I'm Abby." I was purposely letting him carry the conversation, simply following. I wasn't trying to outsmart him, I just knew he would like it. Hackett was self-sufficient and proud. He wanted to be flattered, but not too much. It had to be natural. Being a retail worker, this was pretty much my only talent. "How'd you get here, Abby?" he asked. "I was thinking you'd know. You seem to be a big deal here. On my part, I just wish I was invisible." Hackett laughed with gusto. "Yeah, I saw you. There was a little crack in the reality in your area, as you begged to be invisible. Couldn't help but wonder why you'd ask for that. I thought it was preposterous. Because I'm ugly?" "You're what?" he asked, sounding actually confused. I couldn't help but notice he was the only one that looked directly at my blotched face. I started to explain what it meant to be an eyesore. No, I get it. I know this concept." He politely cut me off. "I've been wandering around long enough to understand all your idiosyncrasies. It's just that it is irrelevant to my eyes. My vision only captures strength or weakness, and you, Abigail, are 1 in a million. But maybe you can't see that yet, since you keep wasting time with trifling ways to divide beings." "That's not how I wanted it to be," I retorted, "so simply don't let it be that way." "Do you want to leave this place?" he asked. At first, I thought that anything goes. I thought that it wasn't that bad. At least no one was staring at me in disgust. But I soon realized that the beings in this realm were little by little ceasing to be. They became a blur, static, then dust, then literally nothing. They were worse than forgotten. Their existence was simply disintegrated. I had nothing in particular to live for, especially knowing that my family was doing alright, but something inside of me didn't want to give up and end like this. Maybe it was this unknown strength Hackett talked about. "Yes, of course I want to leave. This place is awful," my voice replied, with an incisiveness I didn't recognize inside myself. "This place is awful for the weak." Once again he chuckled with gusto. "The strong are doing alright. Some of them are even about to resurface in the concrete world. That's how we call it here. If I'm strong, why do I think this place is awful? Because you haven't been here long enough, and you still see yourself as your old self. A self that had to conceal their force for a long time." With a gracious movement, he removed a long cane from his pocket, then started to casually fidget with it. "But you know what, Abigail? I like you. There's potential in you. So I'll offer you a very good deal. You know what a dodo is, right? The extinct bird?" "Sure." He smiled contemplatively, seeming to be enjoying our every interaction immensely. "Extinct or forgotten?" Hackett lightly pulled the rein as I bit my lips in apprehension. There was no way, but it looked somehow like the pictures, only colossal. "Is that? I had no idea it was. Why else would you humans hunt it down so relentlessly?" "But it was fearless of its predators, because it was fat and slow, because it was tasty." This seemed to be partially funny to Hackett. "No, child, because they were scary like the acid and hot flames of hell." For a while, I quietly watched the dodo's majestic beak. They could easily rip off a grizzly bear's head like it was a bottle cap. Every one of its feathers was like the blades of a dagger, in a slightly rusty colour that still made the beast look fluffy if you weren't paying enough attention. It was all bones and razors, and insanely muscular legs and fingers, ending in sharp nails, each over half my size. The ridiculously large bird was fearsome, but graceful. It quietly shrieked, but it was enough to make me feel like my heart would stop forever. I never felt such a suffocating, crushing presence. Easy, girl. Don't stare into the eyes, Hecate adverted. They'll strip you of your sanity in 2 heartbeats. What? You'll slaughter living things until you collapse. Sure, you can't touch the concrete ones, but this place will be a mess, and it'll be up to me to fix, so please, don't look into the eyes. You can't comprehend what you'll see. Not even I am able to understand the abyss that lies inside the dodo's eyes. Okay. I collected myself a little, but still felt the fear stuck in my throat. You said you had a really good deal for me? Good girl. Hecate praised me. It felt so good. Although he was too phantomal, he was the closest thing to warmth in such a cold world. Yes, I do. The quicker way out here is by defying the dodo and winning. I'm his master. I'm the master of all there is here. I patiently waited. There had to be more. That was no deal. Usually, people have to face the dodo straight on. They all lose, of course. But you have latent potential. I'll give you some time to improve yourself then. I'll give you 8,000 heartbeats. You... will what? That's how we count the time here. You see? As you watched the first layer of the earth, only 1 day had passed. But you've actually been roaming around here for 43 years. It's a big place, so you didn't notice. When you focus, you'll see the time elapsing differently. 800,000 heartbeats would be around 1 week in the concrete world's time. He made an elegant reverence using the top hat and the cane. Make good use of it. Where should I meet you? I asked. Oh, don't worry, child. I'll come find you. And he pointed his cane in my direction, but way higher. The lengthy walking stick had an impossible dance in the air, like it had a mind of its own. Beautiful and terrifying. It shot stars. Actual stars. Stars made of hot gas, exploding in fire, ice, and deafening noise. A lot of the shadows nearby dispersed, clearly crying in fear. They were of all sizes and shapes, all terrifying. From behind me, I heard a terrible squeal that made the earth tremble. Then, still stunned by the tinnitus, I turned to see a dreadful, furry, quadruped behemoth. Its long tusks were stained with bright black blood. There was a huge hole in its forehead. But the infinitely tough creature seemed to be more astonished than hurt. Be careful of the woolly mammoth. He isn't even close of forgiving you humans.